Welcome to a step-by-step guide from just entering the rift to getting all the time charms and much more. I will explain everything and give you all the tips to fast track your progress. So even if you already passed a certain part, you can learn a thing or two. The first thing you need to know is that you get a free entry to the rift every 4 hours. Otherwise you have to pay. So especially in the early game where you have less money, try to use those free entries as much as possible. And for the question of which method is better for paying, you should buy it with the... You know what? No. This changes depending on prices, just check for yourself. No matter what I say, someone will write in the comments that he remembers exactly 234 days ago that I was wrong for 20 minutes. Anyway, when you enter the rift, you'll notice you have limited time, which means that your first priority is always to get more time and to be efficient with the time you have. Because otherwise, you're wasting real time playing Skyblock and wasting rift time. Now in the rift you don't have coins. The currency is called motes and you get them from many different sources. Finally, it's time to start your rift journey. As you enter the rift, talk to the wizard and he will give you a little quest which unlocks the rift guide, which is basically a list of all the tasks you have to do. Now we can actually begin. The first thing you need to do when you enter a new zone is the Enigma and Montezuma souls, which are basically fairy souls just in the rift. You unlock the Enigma souls by talking to Enigma and equipping the Enigma cloak, and you unlock the Montezuma by talking to Jack something, I don't know his name. Generally, I'll try to show the difficult ones on screen, but you can always just watch a video about where the souls are, where are the Montezuma souls and all of that. So for example, here don't try to find the second Montezuma soul because you can't actually get there yet. It will tell you that you collected all the souls for this zone. And for the 2 players one, you can just ask someone in the lobby or just do it with a friend. Which I will explain more in the future about when you can warp friends and how does it work. This said, I do recommend waiting a bit more with the Bark Enigma Soul because it reduces your time by quite a lot and there are much better things to do. This reminds me about the Portal Eyes. This will be much more important later, but generally speaking, the Portal Eye is the actual first thing to unlock in each new zone because it allows you to teleport to the places you already unlocked. And if you can, killing him in the last 10 seconds of your rift time is beneficial because you don't lose time. My best tip for you so far is to kill the Tricroxes and take the particles on the ground while you're getting the Enigma souls and other things later. The particles give you 25 motes and 2 seconds of time, which is nice, and the shies are one of the 6 croxes that you'll see in the rift, with each one having a special ability to reduce your time. The shy crox will remove 60 seconds of your time if you look at it while its ability is active. Once you get 333 motes and 3 shy croxes, you can get the wyld sword. This is great because it lets you kill shies with 1 less shot. The way that you do this is by talking to each of the 3 brothers, which you can find by the obvious ladders that lead to them, and then just click a fucking button in chat. Sorry, I'm just a bit angry about people not knowing what to do in this quest. After doing that is when you should start the Bug Hunter quest, where you need to catch fairies. Not these ones. The first step to do so is to buy the silk tripwire and right click on these worms. And then you need to buy a bottle and use the silk to fly to the fairies. I recommend putting the silk a little bit higher than the fairies because you are actually flying under the strings. And just so you know, some fairies you can actually catch without the string, which is great. For that quest you'll need to buy a lot of items, which means that you'll need to kill some shies. And so when you get enough motes for each armor piece, you can stop the quest for a moment and just go buy it. People are having a rough time finding those, so I'm gonna show on screen exactly like how you can get to them. After you give the bug hunter 8 bottles, he will give you the belt and finish the quest. But do not forget to buy the talisman and not be like me where I got to the last zone and then I remembered, oh wait, I can buy the talisman. The last mission is to unlock the ender chest, which is a way to transfer items between the rift and the real world. To do that, you just have to talk some people, don't forget the upstairs, and then talk to the alchemist, which will give you the potion. That's it, you are done with the first zone. And if you are here, I have a treat for you. I'm gonna tell you my personal favorite tip. So when you go to the wizard portal, do not climb it using the ladder. If you have an aspect of the end, just teleport through the window, and otherwise use a grappling hook like shown on screen. Anyway, the next zone is the Black Lagoon. The first thing to do is to get the Enigma souls, but sadly you can't get Roy and the mushroom guy yet. To get the puzzle one, just toll each one by order from left to right or right to left, and my tip for Tolker is to do it in a rift entry where you actually don't enter the Black Lagoon, so you're wasting Wild Woods time instead of Black Lagoon time, which is more precious because you have to pay to get there. You can do this when you have spare time in the Wild Woods, and then if you have more time left, you can move on to the next task, which is to get lil pads to get to the island. You do this by entering the lake and then going outside the lake when a lagoon leecher spawns. You can do that from anywhere, but do not do it from the Black Lagoon because you don't want the mobs in the Black Lagoon to shoot you. Talking about the mobs, they occasionally shoot arrows at you, which decrease your time by a lot. The way to avoid it is by standing behind the mushroom, which will grow a big tree, and then waiting for the arrows to end. Anyway, coming back to the island, once you get like 20 lily pads, you can jump and just place them before you to get to the island without summoning a leech. But before you do that, you should talk to Dr. Hubble because that's the first part of the quest, and otherwise you'll have to go back to talk to him and then go again to the island. When you get to the island, you have a couple of things to do. You need to kill the portal eye, so you'll be able to teleport to the island when you need it next time, and talk to K, I think, which will give you a map to give back to Dr. Hubble. Once you go back to mainland and give Dr. Hubble the map, you can actually start killing the leech. But before you enter, if possible, then getting a friend to do the boss with you will make it much easier. To do the boss with a friend, you both need to be in the same lobby, which means that you'll have to warp your friend to the lobby or the friend will have to warp you to his lobby. But the thing is, you can only warp a friend if they already bought or claimed the free infusion and are waiting outside of the rift, or if they are inside of the rift and have full time. Now you can both press the button and enter the boss. And very important, if it's your first time in the Lich boss fight, make sure that before you enter the ring, to go up the waterfall and collect the Montezuma soul. The Lich has 4 phases. In phase 1 you have to jump above slime waves. In phase 2, just run around and don't touch the green squares because something will fall on them soon. In phase 3, just kill the mobs, and in phase 4, jump above the particles and then crouch inside the 2x2 space. After you kill the Lich for the first time, you should use the fragments to craft the time charm, which will give you a lot more time, and in addition, it will allow you to get the second Montezuma soul. You get that by entering the Rift Gallery and then just pressing the button. After that, you have two options. Continue straight to the West Village to get the Enigma Souls and the Time Charm, and then do the rest of the tasks in the Black Lagoon, or just complete the Black Lagoon and then move on to the West Village. You can choose what you want. I'm just gonna go over the Black Lagoon tasks, and if you want, you can skip to the West Village. You should do the Leech 2 more times. One for the belt and the other for the aspect of the Leech, which is very helpful later on. The only thing left now is to finish the rest of the quests. Now you got to the West Village. As always, you should start with the Enigma and Montezuma souls, and do not forget to do the Mushroom Guy souls and the souls in the Dreadfarm, because you can actually access it without paying or getting an additional time charm. But the neuroscience, the beanstalk, the buttons and the balloons are all souls that you should get later on. Now, out of the souls you should get, the 2-player soul will probably require a friend, because doing it with just a random person is very annoying. But for the hot dog contest, which you can't actually do by yourself because it takes too much hot dogs, you can just start it and hope that someone will join. In my experience, almost always someone does join. The best thing you unlock in the West Village is the Portal Eye, which teleports you straight to the Dreadfarm and costs less time than by just entering it normally. Instead of 7 minutes to the lagoon and then the West Village, it's just 6:23. So if you didn't get it yet, on your first time entering the West Village, kill the Portal Eye. After getting all the souls, you should do the Mirrorverse. My best tip here is to use a mod called Sky Honey, which will make it so much easier. It actually helps even outside the Mirrorverse, like in everything in the Rift. It's like so good. But after you finish the Mirrorverse, to buy the Time Charm, you need Shadow Crocs. So after completing the Mirrorverse, get 10 Shadow Crocs as fast as you can to unlock the Time Charm. Before I continue, I want to talk about how the shadows actually work. After a couple of hits, they will go underground and try to hit you and take 60 seconds off of your time. There are two methods to deal with that. One is to run in circles to dodge the attacks and then kill them, and the other is to use the fact that they move to run to a different shadow, and that way you can kill more of them more quickly. Both are good methods, but the second one is a bit more risky and gives you a little more cruxes. You can do the rest of the tasks in many ways, but this is the order that I recommend. In the infested house, you have to suck in the mobs with a vacuum and put them inside the thingy, I don't know. From that quest you'll get gloves, a better belt, and an Enigma soul. And just like the name says, you don't have to unlock the fifth thing. I won't force you. For the next quest, you'll need to get the Berberries blowgun, which you can do by harvesting wilted berberries. But to harvest the wilted berberries, you need to talk to Shania for the farming wand, and then harvest the ones with the purple particles on them. The fastest way I found to do so is by getting to this specific farm and then watching the order in which they spawn. This order will actually be the same order as the one you need to harvest them. And obviously once you have the gun, you can get the 2 fairy souls. You start the hacking by dummies by talking to the clone and putting the helmet on yourself. Then you just need to follow where the mod tells you to go and put the color that it says. Hello, hi, it's me from editing. This wasn't very clear. The mod will show you 8 waypoints, 1 for each of the things you need to do. When you open it, it won't look like this. You have to do like a mini game, which the mod will tell you how to, and then just choose the color. Just do that for all the 8 things. So this also wasn't very clear. To do the Time Charm quest, You need to talk to Shania, which will give you the wand of farming and will tell you to get 2 enchanted variants of each of the crops. To get the Agoricus cup, you need to stare at it and left click when it turns red. And to get the whatever stem, you need to harvest it from top to bottom. But a much better way to do it is by standing on a block near it and just clicking down. And about the wilted berberries, well, I literally just talked about them. When you're done, Shania will give you the proto chicken, which you can use to craft the time charm. The last thing you'll need is to get the eggs by punching the chickens and then shooting them while they are in the air with the berberries blowgun. To get the leggings and to complete the quest, the last thing you need is the vault crocs. This is one of the easy ones. After a couple of hits, the vault will shoot lightning at you and will give you one safe lock. But you can just leave the range and even kill more vaults while they do this attack, so this isn't really an issue. So to help Okron, you need to talk to him, and then he'll give you the wording whatever, this diamond, and then he'll tell you each time where is the next glyph. So for example, this time a server room, he means like the clune house. So you see the glyph here, you right click, you take it, and then you go back with this to the wizard. After you give him, you need to move along the particles with the diamond and turn all the particles blue, like that. If you can't find the places of each one, you can just search up a video or like the wiki, whatever. To get the beanstalk, you need to buy a bucket from the plumber and use it to grow the tree. There is some parkour that you need to do if you don't have the aspect of the leech and you really don't want to fail, because this means that you have to try all over again. So if you are not good at parkour, make sure that you have the aspect of the leech. And the last thing is to do the race, which the aspect of the leech again is very helpful. And if you have the money, you can actually upgrade its range by using the transmission tuners. But be careful, you can only do it once. Here we go, we got to the village plaza. Obviously you should do the souls, but before that, make sure that you avoid the Enderman, because if he sucks you in, you'll just teleport back to the hub. And if I'm already talking about mobs, the scribes just go up in the air and then summon black blocks below them, which you have to walk on and turn them all to gold. But you do have to avoid the laser that they shoot, because it takes away 20 seconds from your time. The best way to do this is by running in a circle around the scribe. And you know what? It's called scribe. So you better No, I promised I won't do that this time. Anyway, coming back to the souls, you need to sit with whatever his name, but not on the same table. After 3 minutes of doing so, you will get the Enigma soul. And after you talk to Nick whatever with the rabbits and get the horse Zuka, you can get a soul by destroying the wheat. It's in the screen right now. But another soul you can get is the one you couldn't before in the dreadfarm, which you need to break the wall and then take it. The best thing to do after the souls is to get the time charm. To do that, you have to enter here and talk to Barry. After you do that, you'll have to come back and be the middleman between the people here and their requests and Barry right there. Now, there will only be one correct answer, so for the people who can't think for themselves and have to watch a YouTube video to find out what to do in a video game, all the answers are on the screen. Wait, maybe I shouldn't make fun of all my subscribers, like why would you subscribe if you know things? Never mind. Again, as I told you, in the West Village you can do the tasks in every order you want. You are not trapped in a cage, you can even stop playing Skyblock, but I'm gonna give you the order I recommend. The first task you should do is the Romero and Juliet. You basically just do what he tells you. You walk into this house and you just follow the detective. And if you don't know where the detective went each time, you can just look at the wiki, they actually have a list. For the rabbit quest, you need to give Nick 7 almost whole carrots. Those can be obtained by standing behind the rabbit, which forces it to go forward. And that way you can move him to the carrot patches, which will give you half-eaten carrots. From that, you can craft them into almost whole carrots. But this quest doesn't actually give you time. It gives you another ender chest slot. So you can decide if you want to do it or not. In any case, upgrade your chest plate to the next level. When you have the money for the boots and the Enigma Soul, just buy them. Some of you might know that you can increase your speed and mana regen by paying Enigma, but you shouldn't do that yet. Keep the 60,000 from the Mirrorverse to buy the boots and the BTZ. To help Seraphine, you need to talk to the alchemist and brew a potion. To make that potion, you need to do a couple of mini tasks, but before you even start, make sure that you have the Agoricus cup, because at the end of the quest, you cannot upgrade your helmet from the non-dead mask. Let's move on to the living cave, which has two parts. The first one, which you just enter normally, and the second one that you can enter only when you're fully juiced up. Yes, that's the name in the game. Yeah. This means that after getting the Enigma Soul, you need to kill the mobs to upgrade your sword to a pickaxe. But these mobs are kinda unique. Their ability is to summon blocks that you have to destroy in order to kill them, which is kinda easy. The annoying part is that they actually try to hit you and they take a lot of time away. This might not seem like a problem, but later on, you have to avoid them as much as you can. With your new pickaxe, you can get living metal by mining the lapis blocks and then mining the next block before 3 seconds pass. This continues until times 5, where you get 20 living metal. And with that metal you can craft 4 mobs, 1 for each armor piece. To kill them you have to do the same as the regular mobs, you have to mine the blocks that they spawn. But this time you have to stand inside the particles and it takes longer to mine each block. After you kill them, you'll see a diamond armor piece, which will juice up your pieces by a random amount. And you need all your pieces to be 100% to enter the second part. Once your armor is fully juiced up, don't worry, this is the last time I say it, you can enter the living stillness, which is the second part. Firstly, you should get the Enigma and Montezuma Soul, and then continue to get the Time Charm. This is when you face the Frozile, which has the most annoying ability of all of the Croxes. He traps himself in an ice cage, which you have to destroy in 10 seconds, or he takes 3 minutes from you. Yes, 3. This is when most people, including me, make a big mistake to just mine them like this, one by one. This will not be fast enough. What you should do is move your mouse very fast while holding left click, like shown on screen. To craft the time charm you also need living metal, but you shouldn't get it like before, because if you mine in the bottom part, you get 2 times as much metal. The last thing to do here is to mine snakes. The way that it works is one person uses the frozen water fungi, I think, to stun the snakes, while the other one can mine it only in order, from the tail to the head. But the one who stuns has to know when to do so. You cannot stun in positions like these because the other person doesn't know the order. Try to have it as straight as possible. It's very, very important to do this task with a friend. In fact, if you only do one thing with a friend in the rift, let it be this task. That's because otherwise you need to find another person, and his time probably won't be synced up with yours. The other option is to do it alone, which is possible but is very slow and daunting. You might hear a lot of opinions on this, but I think that you should get enough hearts for everything other than the enchantment, which you don't actually need for the progress. Now, while it is true that you cannot craft the chestplate, leggings and wither tuba yet, but before you actually unlock the recipe, you'll upgrade your sword to an actual sword and not a pickaxe. Which means that you won't be able to mine the snakes if you'll want to get those things later. If you upgrade to a sword, to get those things again you'll have to buy the wild sword again, upgrade it to the lich sword, and then craft it into a pickaxe again. I'm sure that you don't want to do that because no one does. Anyway, just get enough hearts for all the items, rant over. You can now enter the Colosseum. Throughout your journey you probably saw that time moves twice as slow in the Colosseum, which sounds amazing before you actually get there and realize that you mostly lose time because the boss has so many abilities which take a lot of time from you, so having time move twice as slow doesn't help you like at all. Anyway, I do have a video to make. After you get the Enigma Soul, it's time to start the boss by just entering the Colosseum. Once the boss fight starts, do not try to leave the arena to dodge the attacks. This will kill you and spawn you in the wizard portal. It doesn't reduce your time, but if you did the boss alone, it would reset the boss to the first stage, which is one of the reasons to not do the boss alone. I'll explain more in a minute. The boss has 5 stages. Each one adds another ability. At first, he spawns tentacles which you have to destroy and then kill the mobs inside them. Then he starts summoning spikes from under you. In phase 3, he will create a border that you have to be at the safe side of, or otherwise you lose some time. And then he starts summoning a line that you have to jump about. At the last stage you have a gun and can shoot the tentacles while jumping very high. This is the only fun part of the boss. All I can say is that you'll have to do this boss a lot more times than you think. Don't trust me? Well, the last zone is the stillgore chateau, but you'll need to do some work before getting there. At first you need to complete the parkour, which you can see how I recommend doing it. When you're done, you'll get to the Deja Vu Alley. The only purpose of this other than the Montezuma Soul is to unlock the chateau. The way you do this is by using the boat. Yes, the same boat that you helped Reed build. And if you haven't given Reed all the items yet, go and do that to finally unlock the chateau. Which means it's time for the last place in your journey. The first thing to do is to get the portal eye and the souls. But while doing that, be careful. In the chateau you have actual HP, and the only way to restore that HP is by crafting the healing melon. And to do that you have to kill some mobs. The good news is that if you die, it's not that big of a deal. You spawn in a prison and have to kill the guards to escape. It's very quick. Here is the first time I recommend using your motes at Enigma to get some speed and mana regen. This will help a lot in summoning the boss faster and in having enough mana to heal yourselves. Just make sure that you have enough motes left to summon the Slayer tier you are doing at that moment. During your Slayer quests, you'll get many more melons. The only thing you can do with them is to sell them for motes. And I really recommend crafting them to enchanted variant before doing so for the extra motes. But before I get to the Slayer, which is the main thing you'll be doing here, I need to tell you that the spiders take away HP from you, and the way to restore it is by walking over the hard particles. I'm not kidding when I'm saying that it took me 3 entries to the rift before I understood that. It made me go crazy because I died all the time. The last things I need to talk about before the Slayers are the pillars thingies. Fuck it, I can't speak, I'll call them engines. Each engine out of 6 total increases your damage by 2 when activated. What we saw on screen right now, and I think until this moment, is the location of which one of the engines. The damage increase is very important, so before you start doing Slayers, make sure all of them are activated. Now you can finally start the Slayers, which are the only progression from now on. Don't think you escaped them only because you moved to a whole different dimension. To start the Slayer quest, you have to talk to Maddox and start a tier 1, which has 2 special abilities other than just dealing damage. He will become invincible and spawn a giant circle, and each time, to not take damage, you need to stand in the green ring. And the second ability happens every couple of seconds, where he just flies to a different place. Soon you'll get to level 1 of the Slayer and unlock the first sword and helmet. For now, you don't really need the diamond. I recommend moving on to tier 2 only after getting both of those. Tier 2 has 2 more abilities. Occasionally he will spawn 3 mobs, each decrease your hearts by 1. Once you kill them, you will get the HP back and they will leave something called cadaver on the floor. In the next part of the ability, the boss flies in the air and after a couple of seconds will drop down to the big red circle and deal damage. But most importantly, it will destroy every cadaver in the radius. This is important because if a cadaver hasn't been destroyed, then the boss will resurrect him after he lands. Hi, Future Me here. He also has the Twin Claws ability that you saw on screen multiple times, where he basically shoots a claw at you that deals damage. You'll have to do some tier 2 bosses until you get to level 2, where you unlock the Bat Throne, which is just great. And it also unlocks a better healing item and the stake. The way that it works is by one-shotting the boss if he is under 20% HP. But even after getting the stake and the juicy melon, tier 3 is very difficult. So I recommend trying tier 3 only after you get the time charm, which gives you an additional heart. But to get the time charm, you'll need to get to level 3 and then get 12 blood badges. To do so, you'll need Bactae fragments, leech fragments, cavern seals from the Slayer, and 2 of each crocs. I can't really say anything. My only tip here is to cheese leech by just going on the ledge. I'm sorry, you're on your own. Anyway, in level 3 you also get the leggings, which I think most people put on black for the double, and the talisman, which makes the Slayers a little easier to spawn. But for now you shouldn't craft it, as it is not easy to get and you can just continue doing Slayers as usual and it will be faster. Before I forget, tier 3 has 2 more abilities. It spawns a string which you have to change between left and right click to destroy. I recommend just spamming both. If you don't destroy it within 15 seconds, it will kill you immediately. I suggest destroying it as soon as you see it, because usually he does his flying up attack right after that. And this actually blocks you from destroying the string. So do it as fast as you can. You don't believe how many times I died because it wouldn't let me destroy the string. The second ability is giving you tasks to do, and if you don't complete them, then he damages you. The best thing to do in my opinion is tier 3s until level 4, where you get the best sword, the best healing melon, the best helmet, and the tuba, which gives more damage and speed. Before that, tier 4 is close to impossible. So when you get to level 4 and craft those, you can start doing tier 4s. Now tier 4 doesn't have any new abilities, but from what I noticed, from tier 4 and onwards, he can actually do the twin claws during the circle. This means that he pushes you out of the green ring, which results in so much damage and you probably will die. The way I deal with this is by spawning him in this specific spot, and that way when he starts the circle, I can tuck myself in the wall and the claws cannot move me out of the green ring. Now when you start doing tier 4s, you should put the RNG meter on the burger. This will increase how many motes you get by so much and will also give you some extra time. The only other thing which you might want to put the RNG meter on is the vampire part, which is crucial for tier 5 of the Slayer. But you can buy it using the motes you'll get from the burger, and in any case, to do tier 5, you'll also need to get the chest plate, which takes a long time to get. So to sum up, when you get to level 5, you should upgrade the chest plate, and then if you want to do tier 5s, you kinda have to get the talisman. Tier 5 has one additional ability that you need to do. I don't remember it, but it's probably on screen right now. Yeah, so hello. Every couple of while the boss will spawn a little anchor, and the way to destroy it is by having the boss shoot twin claws at it. The way I recommend doing so is by just standing on the actual thing and then just waiting for the boss to shoot at you. But that's not all. If you fail one of the tasks or stand outside the green ring, tier 5 does enough damage to basically kill you in full HP. This is a major increase from tier 4, which means that there is almost no room for error. The last thing after you are done with everything is what to do with your motes. Every skyblock here, a couple of items are sold in the Rift auction, and the top bids get the item. I say bids because many people can get that item instead of only one person. So when you're done, find what sells for the least when comparing to actual coin price and buy it. But don't forget the most important thing, subscribe.